Good evening, Club Gold. You guys all thought it was very interesting trying to juggle paperwork around the kittens. I now bring you the next episode of How to Post That I'm Live featuring Zeke, who is now aware that he's on camera and behaving himself very, very much. Just booping my phone around and rubbing and marking on it and being a silly baboo. We love him. We love you. We love you, Zeke Babu. I exist, but I don't yet. I just wanted you guys to see how ridiculous he is because he's cute. Open my stupid highlights thing because I won't remember before bed to add it to my highlights. Welcome, Cyogenics. Zeke is innocent. Innocent until proven guilty, and he's not proving himself guilty, so... Why, thank you. I figured it was apropos for the night. It was also upstairs, and that was easy. And I'm lazy. Or I'm efficient. That's what we're gonna go with. I'm efficient. You're such a good little boy. You, sir. I just started him on antibiotics a few minutes ago. He had a weird pee-pee. And we gotta be mindful of your pee-pees. We've got to be mindful. We're going to snuggle you for a moment. I wonder if it's the treats. I think I screwed up with the treats. Actually, how much are your treats on the farm? Let's order some treats right now. No, I wanted that tab open. That's my tab. It's my tab. Zeke, you're in the shadows. Batman. That didn't help at all. Kind of. A little bit. I think he does need special treats. Oh no, I want my vet's part of it, not the main page. There we go. I think he does need special treats. So we were looking at them, I don't know, a couple weeks ago on stream. I don't think the treats screwed him up, necessarily. But a lack of me because of sick BBs, plus bonus treats, probably wasn't the best choice. Whoops. That's okay. We tried. What brand is your food? Real Canaan, I think. Let me double check. Yeah, that's the bag. These are the treats we want for Zeke. How much are they at Chewy? Oh, they're cheap. How many is in there? Give me quantity. Why is your nose so cold? I love the feeding guides for treats. It also reassures me that I don't overfeed my cats. It's 30. You would get 35 treats per day maximum. Who the fuck gives their cats 35 treats? Like, really good parents, I guess, but that's a bit much for me. It's a bit much. Let's see how much they are on here. Royal Canin urinary cat treats. No, we're not getting you pee treats. It's just because you pee weird. There they are. Does it say the quantity? Oh, they're $10 through the vet pharmacy, but I think they require a prescription. Do they? Yeah, authorization approval. And my vet charges, oh, that's only $5.84 for auto ship. My vet charges $10 for prescriptions if they do have them in their pharmacy, but you choose to get them elsewhere. So it's not worth it to go through there. How much is in there? It's a 220 gram bag. That doesn't help me. Maybe it'll say on Royal Canin's website. You're so cozy. You're so cozy. That cat is so cute. Not weight management. It's just food, not treats. Oh, I have to look through the whole veterinary filter and sort. Filter and sort, filter and sort. That does not help me. Except to do pee-pee. Veterinary support. Probably give your pet cat 30 plus treats a day. I'm weak and they're cute. So when you have Daisy, she's gonna get extra big. SO plus calm. That's interesting. Wonder if that's a... Oh no, there's that one. Maybe the calm one would help you. We should look for that one. Loaf. I find it I mean, all wet cat food is disgusting. It just is. But I find it particularly disgusting when they call it loaf. I don't know why. It just grosses me out. They don't have the treats on their main website. Oh, whatever. We're just ordering. We'll find out when we get them. Proceed to checkout. Oh wait, can I just add it to your next order? Because it's like $10 to ship it. I'm trained for Chewy. I'm not used to how this goes. Can I add things to an auto ship? Auto ship scheduled for... So you get more cans on the 11th. That's a couple of days. Manage auto ship. Can I add something to it? I don't know how to do this. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I would have to cancel it and re-add it, like, all to the cart for the auto ship. Oh, Zeke, we'll do this tomorrow. This is a lot of brain cells at the moment, or we'll do it later, one of the two. It's a bit much. I'm gonna move all of that around. I didn't log on to stream to stare at my phone. It's not the move of tonight. Oh, I forgot I put this clip in my hair just so I could bring it in here, and that probably looked interesting. Meatloaf gross in concept too. No, actually I love meatloaf. I haven't had meatloaf in a long time, obviously, but that used to be one of my favorite dinners. My dad makes good meatloaf though. It was very moist, not dry. Daisy would be very, very chunky here. Musical artist and food? Oh, in reference to, I don't know what I said. Oh, meatloaf. It all goes full circle from there. 30 treats a day. That's crazy. He's very happy and purry right now. We can't see you, but we know you're there. He's like the love of friendship. You can't see it outwardly, but you know it's there. Like the age-old joke of friendship is like peeing yourself. You are just a shadow, love. You are just a shadow, love. One of your top canines is not as sharp as the other. If one of these teeth is not as sharp as the other, if one of these teeth just isn't the same, Zeke is in a quantum state. Is there good vegan meatloaf? I remember a couple times my aunt getting me I don't really buy frozen meals that much, but she would buy them for me, and that was easy to do with the Munchkins. Amy's brand, I think, has decent... I think it's that brand. One of their silly little frozen meals. Mashed potatoes and frozen meals always taste weird, though. May's? No, Amy's. Auntie M. Auntie May. This one. I remember this being pretty good. It's not a very big page. You're gonna function. Walmart is stubborn. Target will have a bigger picture. Maybe. He's both shadow and not shadow until he meows. He's a big talker while I was getting ready. This one. I like Amy's stuff. But this is... It was decently yummy. Like, the texture was similar, which made it good. Real question is with ketchup or not? Absolutely with ketchup. I loved ketchup when I was a kid. I would put it on everything. I still put ketchup on my mashed potatoes sometimes. I love ketchup. I'm a condiment girly. I love ketchup. And mustard. I think I've told you guys, sometimes I make like poor man's burger rice cakes. Just put ketchup and mustard on it. Like literally just eat a rice cake with ketchup and mustard. I used to put ketchup on everything as a kid, though. I would dip my vegetables in ketchup. Like, my entire plate was smothered in ketchup. I don't know why my dad allowed that, but he did. I'm not that bad anymore, though. I don't need to smother everything in ketchup, except eggs. No, that's hot sauce. Hot sauce my godfather used to put on eggs, not ketchup. I don't think people put ketchup on eggs. Ketchup on mashed potatoes? Hi, I'm sorry I moved. It's actually low-key delicious. It's very good. It's just like a tomato gravy on a blank carbohydrate base. Like, it... I'm not gonna offend the world and say what I'm thinking. But hypothetically, I could be thinking that it's just, you know, like an Italian food of sorts. But not really. But Italian cooking is so pristine that I dare not insult it. Used to put ketchup on your eggs. Oh, that is a thing then. Put on your hash browns and it tasted pretty good on eggs too, so why not? I'll have to try that with some just egg. We will. Boy, what are you doing? I'm staring into the litter box abyss. You gotta pee normal. You gotta pee normal. He was peeing good and not bloody, like not poor posture or anything. But this is the second time in the last couple days that I've caught him peeing foamy. And he peed in the super fun conversations. He peed in the pretty litter, which shows like the pH of what their pee-pee is, and it looked okay, but he's been foamy. So it could just be a slight dehydration or too much protein. I don't know if the protein content of the treats. It's probably just a perfect storm of slightly less of me and treats. But he's not having any of these issues, so I'm not too worried. I just threw a Zeniquin in him before stream. Here, have an antibiotic. Have an antibiotic. Yes. You're so cute. You're so pretty. You have the most beautiful eyes. We gotta feed the babies in a few. We gotta love on you. What do you think about ketchup on everything, Zeke? He looked at me and opened his eyes and his pupils got narrow, like, no. Do not put ketchup on my food, mother. No. No. Ketchup is acidic. Would that goof up your pH? Still boggles me. I think it's probably the sugar addition or like probably the high fructose corn syrup coating it. Like ketchup doesn't upset my stomach, but tomatoes do now. I'm glad I can still enjoy ketchup, but I want to enjoy tomatoes. I think Zeke would eat treats with anything. He is the only cat, I'm trying to think, I think, in this household that is dumb enough, or rather smart enough, to take his pill in a pill pocket. Everyone else gets offended by the concept of that. It's probably less acidic since it's so processed. I think so. And ketchup is so much sweeter than, like, tomatoes. I made homemade ketchup years ago, and it was much more tomato-y. Much more, like, it's still a little bit sweet. You add sugar to it, but it was very good. It was kind of, I don't want to say it was, like, labor-intensive, because it really wasn't. But to make a lot of ketchup, to have on hand, it would have been kind of annoying to keep up with. It was very good. It's super easy to do. Just like how you buy, like, a Campbell's soup and it's condensed and you have to add, like, a can of water to it. You kind of do that with tomato paste, I think it was. And that was the base for it. I didn't do it when I had my garden tomatoes, but I did it out of cans. Tomato paste, vinegar, water, brown sugar, or honey. I think I just did brown sugar. Onion powder, garlic powder, salt, allspice. I don't think I did allspice. I don't think I did cloves either. I don't think I was that brave then. This was many years ago. I used to make my own laundry detergent too. I should actually go back to that. My washer got old and it stopped agreeing with it, but I have a new one now. I should make my own again. It was so easy peasy lemon squeezy though. It was delicious. You made homemade mayo? That's just like eggs and oil, isn't it? That's awesome. If I ate that, I would love to try to do that. But mayo is mostly just eggs and oil, I think. Then you just mix it up like you would like cream to make butter. I think. Not trying to simplify the great effort that you put in, because that's impressive. But I'm trying to think. I think that's how mayo is made. There's a holy floof on my foot. Holy floof. Meow. I love you. We took a nap earlier. We did snuggles. You monopolized my pillows by laying on them, and I laid on my arm. And then Gunther used my arm as a pillow, and it was very cute. So we're gonna have to eat with the babies tonight. But I will be watching you tomorrow. Watching you. We can add vinegar for more American style mayo. Ooh. I love me some vinegar. Eggs and oil are the main ingredients. Is there any seasoning to it? Japanese style mayo doesn't have the tart vinegar taste, really. Ooh. Would Japanese style mayo be spicy mayo? I am not educated in the art of mayonnaises. I've always wanted to try spicy mayo. Someone with a vegan brand connection. Make vegan spicy mayo. Probably exists at like Whole Foods or fancy stores. Maybe Trader Joe's or something. A little bit of mustard, salt, and pepper. Ooh. That sounds neat. Japanese mayo is really mild. Ooh. Mayonnaise kind of does have a strong flavor to it. It does, but it doesn't. I don't know how to describe that from what I remember, though. Bologna sandwiches and whatnot. Is it just more like a coating of the bread, kind of like what butter would be versus like a condiment? Japanese style? Now I'm curious. What, Grumpy? Do you not want to be... Are you pulling a Munster? You just want the lap? I think you can feel that we're about to get up. Oh my goodness. You're interested in Japanese mayo because they put it on sushi. Oh, this is gonna sound terrible when I say it, but I always wondered what that like white zigzag sauce on top of stuff was. Yeah, talking about sauces and you're saucy. Buddy. He's like heavy breathing at me. What? We gotta get up in a minute. I love you. He got mad that I said I'll be watching him. It's like, you don't need to watch me. I'm a grown man. Yes, I do. You're a grown man, but you're baby. You're my baby. You're my baby. Alright, are we ready for up? Are we ready for up? We're going off the rails on the Zeke train. Do 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 do. We gotta get up, buddy. He farted. Thank you for sharing. We're gonna uppy. Do you want... Oh. So pathetic. He doesn't want me to get up. He's throwing a fit. He's throwing a fit. Do you want to have the chair? You can be cozy in the chair. You can be cozy in the chair. There you go. You want to be cozy in the chair? Oh, there you go. That's a very good boy. That's... Oh, what a fucking baby. That's a very good boy. That's a very good boy. Yes. It's a very good boy. It's a very grumpy boy. Okay. It's mad. Sorry you're mad. That's what the white zigzag is, probably mayo. Dang! Now I know. It's not that I thought it was something gross, but I never knew what it was, and I wasn't about to try it. If it's white and on things, it's probably not vegan. There's no use asking. He did get so upset. Why are you so upset? I'm trying to remember how long it takes an antibiotic to upset my tummy. Because he didn't take a few bites of food with it. Good thing you're limber. Yeah. Professionally scaling oneself around cats. Hi. You're okay, Bubbaloo. Are you in your feels? You're in your feels era. I love you. I love you. We just gotta learn his quirks. That's all. He's not being mad. He's just being... He's just expressing himself. It's okay, Bubbaloo. I took the babies to the vet today, and I had to take an Uber pet for the first time, which I was nervous about because I've seen so many horror stories about, like, people getting canceled on or being told they can't bring a pet in them or whatever. I had the best Uber ride today. Like, actually, going there and the way home. I came out to my car to warm it up, and I had a flat tire. I still have a flat tire. I have to deal with that tomorrow. But usually everyone drives so zoomy and ridiculous, and the guy was doing that at first. But then one of the babies meowed, and he was like, "Oh, what do you have in there?" And English was not his first language, and that's okay. But it was very adorable. Like, I watched him turn into a dad in, like, real time. Like, correcting driving methods. Not, like, slamming and, like, stopping and going and asking about the heat. And it was so cute. It was so adorable. Do you want me to order your treats now, then? Do you want me to figure that out? Maybe that's what he's mad about. Maybe Zeke knows more words than we give him credit for. Okay, we'll do that really quick. Yeah, you can do Uber Pet and you can bring your bubs in the car with you. Which I feel rude doing because that's their car and my animal. But I had a flat tire and I had 3 minutes to leave the house. Oopsies. Oopsies. But it went okay. I was just so afraid I was going to be rejected. Here, we'll add this to cart, and then we'll get treats and cans at the same time and make that a new auto ship. And then we'll stop this auto ship. There we go. So it's not as complicated as I made it out to be. Oh, God. We're sorry to see you go. Please let us know why you are canceling your auto ship. I no longer need this product. I have too much on hand. The price is too high. I'm purchasing elsewhere. Zeke is being cared for by someone else, or pass away. Why is that an option? Why? Why? We're just gonna say I have too much on hand. Oh, now we got a 15% off our next order. Cool. Okay. Code. Treats. Okay, now it's only $10 more instead of $20 extra. Zeke. Oh, so select a pet for each product. I'm only trained for Chewy. I don't know how this works. Okay. They're on the way. You got treats just for you on the way. Yay. That seemed to have made him a little happier. Zeke does have big thoughts. I felt so bad taking over pet, but I was so glad it worked out, though. I was so nervous. Anytime I've heard it being referenced to is only with a story of, like, someone being told they can't bring their pet. What soulless monster could reject Kittens? I know! I feel like it'd be a different story if, like, I walked out the front door with, like, Ringo versus a little kitty carrier. You know? Hey, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the cult. It is whatever you want it to be, baby. It is a choose your own adventure, and thank you for taking the time to be here tonight. Who could reject Kittens? And the lady that drove us home, she didn't even like cats, and she still loved the kittens. I felt so bad. They were crying and being upset by the time we were on our way home. They were very exhausted when we got home. They fell right asleep and are just waking up like the last hour. She was like, I don't even like cats and they sound so cute. It was just such a good experience and I was so frazzled. I'm so grateful. So grateful. I was so mad. I'm proud of myself though. The last time my truck fucked out on me, I kicked it and I put a dent in the door. And I'm not proud of that, but it happened. And today I got a flat tire. And all I did was go, motherfucker! And I didn't kick it. I wanted to, but I didn't. That's growth. We're gonna tank test us. My truck was a much more dramatic situation, actually, but that's besides the point. I don't remember what went out, but something went out when I was mid-turn, and it was a handful of years ago. And I had a friend that needed me to help with a soon-to-be ex-boyfriend situation in that moment. I literally abandoned my truck on the side of the road because it died mid-turn. Put a note on it, got an Uber, got on the way. Then got it towed later. Oh man. Let me flip us over here. Boy, it did get me just a baby bit, but nowhere near as dramatic as I was saying. Where? There. My nails are extremely scuffed right now. Don't look at them. Don't look at them. They are a mess. That is true. People end up writing about their experiences more often in reviews than good ones. And I scroll Twitter. That's my chosen... Like, some people get a, like, your relaxing social media doom scroll time, here as well tonight, is TikTok. Sometimes it's Instagram. Mine is Twitter. So I see all these silly little dramatic videos of like, I'm gonna complain about this and tell this story and blah 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 blah. I think I've just come across those. Drama mama. That is true. Yeah, or you're not feeling well, even the tiniest thing feels like a lot. This is very true. Tomorrow will be better, hopefully. And what do I gotta do? I didn't have time to do it earlier. I thought about it. I stood on my porch like a dad for a minute and I thought about it. It's like, what do I want to do? I have an air compressor, so I just have to run the extension cord because I'm parked in front. Run the extension cord out the entryway and then put the air compressor together and then call my mechanic and just put enough air in it to get it there. It will be fine. I jinxed it. I needed new tires and I kept thinking and saying that, and my tires said, yeah, replace us. Replace us. I don't have pockets. Be nice to have pockets. My tires are technically okay, except for the flat one, obviously. But they're at least 6 years old, and I always think about Paul Walker. Don't drive on old rubber, even if it seems like they're okay. Because, I'm doing burnouts in my van. It was so very true, though. Everything was a lot yesterday. Literally everything. Are you prone to drifting? Me as a person, or with my tires currently, am I sliding? Me as a person, yes. With my tires currently, they could grip better. They could obviously be worse, but they could grip a little better. They could. They have like dollar store glue grip instead of like Gorilla Glue grip. Driving, drifting. Wasn't Tokyo Drift the last Fast and Furious movie Paul Walker did, or am I misremembering? Oh, that's a good question. He was in up until I think Fast and Furious 6 or 7 was the first one without him, I think. Because the first one without him was the first one I actually saw in theaters. What was the first Fast and Furious movie without Paul Walker? First Fast and Furious movie made entirely without Paul Walker after his passing during Furious 7's filming was The Fate of the Furious, F8, released in 2017. So he was in parts of 7, but then not in 8. But he passed during 7, so I saw 7 in theaters, and they had a little memorial for him at the end of the movie. Didn't mean to close that. I did not mean to. No, I did not. Okay, boot that down, boot that over. Boop, boop, boop. My computer needs love. Okay. Yeah, he did get the screen credit. 7/8. F7 was the one I saw in theaters. It was neat, just gets more, like, all drawn out serious. It just gets more actiony and goofy and special effectsy instead of storyliney. And batteries? Oh no! What? It shouldn't be. Universe. What are you? What? You making a face at technology. I believe you. I was just at 93%. It's on the right connection. Jesus. Tested on here. What the French toast? Being real thing. Try that again. No, Serena, not Dorina. No, Serena, not. Seems like it's a little better. Hopefully, it'll hold itself together. Communicate the BB cam with charades. My phone died for the first time in like since I've had it on stream the other day, and that's it. So like never, never, never. I've also been dropping it a lot lately, which is not good. I also need to update it, which is not. It's a perfect storm right now. It's gonna be scuffed tonight. Hello, Tunnel. Thank you for letting me know. That's lame, Sauce. Hold your stuff together. Hold it together. Hold the connection. Like Hodor. Hold the door. Let's pop this in. Daisy's at the door waiting for us. I'm gonna throw different clothes over. Oh my Daisy, no, the door is no. Open the floodgates. Nope. Do you really want to go back to the vet that bad? Jesus. Oh my God. Daisy really tried to get going out of there. Holy crow. Wow. That was impressive. Escape Kittens indeed. Oh my gosh. Hi. I gotta get different socks and clothes, okay? You gotta hold on one sec. Get different socks and clothes and food. Food is good. Food is good. Stinky. Hold on, Stinky. I'm coming right back. Okay. Okay. No escape artist. Daisy. Jesus. Child. My child. Hello, I feel like my dad right now. I put these pants on, like tucked my shirt into them inadvertently. Into uppies? Are you learning from Voya? We're just gonna leave it like that, I guess. I don't know. What? 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 Hello? 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 Let me plug this back in, please. Hi. All the big words. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. 3 pretty birds all in a row. There's a way to jailbreak the stream. Daisy will be the one to find it. Are you inquiring minds? Oh, jeez. Old man high-waisted pants. Yeah. It's a look. It's a look. throw on my pajamas in the morning sometimes and have my pants over my giant t-shirt, and then I look in the mirror, I'm like, I look like my dad. It's uncomfortable. Oh, little bean. Hi, Stripes. Bless you. Well, don't you start sneezing. So, the Kittens, I found out what's going on their fecal test today, and they... Where did I just... Oh. It is a look indeed. They have a variation of a coronavirus. There are many variants of a coronavirus. They do not have COVID. That's the first thing I said when my vet said that. They do not have COVID, but they have a variation of coronavirus, which generally is an upper respiratory infection, but for whatever reason has affected their GI tract instead. But it's viral, not bacterial. So they have to stay on antibiotics for... I know, I'm sorry, you do... Oh, Jesus! Baby! That was a big, scary leap! Are we okay? That was a big leap! That was way too big! Are we okay? Okay. Okay. There we go. Jeez Louise. Jeez Louise. Goodness golly. That was scary. That was. Are you guys ready for munchies? They have to... Okay, then we're not going to do uppies. I don't want you to do big scary jumps. They have to stay on their antibiotics for the fever and just let it run its course, kind of like when we have the flu. But you are absolutely correct, Club Cult, with our guesses of... Yep, you kicked that litter everywhere. Litter kicking Olympics. You can do it. You can do it. Good girl. Good girl. Good mamas. It's okay. Give the girl some privacy. Don't listen to her sound effects. It's okay. You just got a rooty tooty booty. That's all. It's okay. It's okay. Merle. And Stripes is soliding up a little bit the last 24 hours, which is good. It's very good. It was the perfect storm of them being exposed to it. Probably. I don't know how else they would contract it without being exposed to it. And losing mom's antibodies. So my vet explained it to me as from like birth to about 3 to 4 weeks, mom is protecting them with all of her milk. All of her milk is specially made to protect them from everything in this world, which is why unless they're bottle babies or having a serious illness, you don't normally see sick kittens until they're over 4 weeks of age. From 4 to 6 weeks, it slows down a little bit, and then somewhere from 6 weeks to 16 weeks, it slows down somewhere from 8 to 9 weeks to 16 weeks, it slows down dramatically. So it's the exact perfect combination of storm of taking away mom's milk and exposure at the same time. I'm not an idiot, but huzzah. The sphere virus is what all the coronaviruses are. Calling one COVID has left everyone thinking they're the same. Yeah, I didn't know there's other ones. Now I know. I learned. I'm like, what? What? COVID? No. No. How does that butt taste? It tastes like butt. A lot of perfect storms in the zoo household. Perfect triangle munch. Yeah. I mean, I'm grateful that I can at least deduce it that way to where we can figure out what the causation to correlation is, I guess, for lack of better words. Like, if they had the circovirus or something, it would definitely be from Ringo. But thankfully, no, it's just something that has to work out its course. And I have a weight lifted off my shoulders from it because here I am thinking, they're not getting the medicine they need for whatever they have, and they can't even have medicine for what they have. It just has to work its course. So they're set to get spayed on the 16th, so in a week. And then, here's the rest of what we need. They have recovery for 10 to 14 days, and then everyone is ready to go home. Stripes and Nibbler are ready to go home after that. We'll coordinate that and still work on finding a home for Daisy. I asked my uncle, and my uncle said, verbatim, we are too old for young cats. Thanks anyway. Okay, you curly noodle. Whatever. Whatever. Normally, viruses are named after their vector origin. There is a huge campaign to not do that for COVID. Proof of China's media power. Dang. Yeah, because coronavirus immediately makes me think of COVID. I wouldn't think of anything else. I know, Squeakies. We're getting it. We're getting it. It's okay. It's okay. But they're not in any serious danger of harm, and I am relieved. They're going to finish up their antibiotics for this round, then they'll be on antibiotics again. Because they'll get spayed and preventatively for any more of this going on. And then you guys get to go, you get a family for Christmas. You get a whole family for Christmas. Yes, you do. Oh, Daisy's coming on up. Corona makes you think of the sun first, then the beer, then COVID. Not gonna lie, I did have a hard time not associating the beer brand when COVID first became a thing. Oh, okay. We're not gonna be able to pour this with you on here. It didn't help that I think MK Ultra was being talked about a lot at the time too, and that also sounds like a beer brand. And it was a confusing time for Serena's brain to be alive in the pandemic. I know, I hear you. We're making it. I can only make it as fast as I can make it. I'm just like traffic. I'm like traffic on the road. Can only make it as fast as I can make it. We gotta put some extra water in it and smoosh it up. Adding water has been good. They got their fluids checked today, and they're not dehydrated by any means, which is awesome. They just all still have low-grade fevers. Bubbers. And here comes Daisy. Here comes Daisy Cottontail, jumping up the mommy trail. There you go. Alley-oop. Hold on, I know, baby, I know. And they're extra fussy because they've been alone since we got home. You guys just came home and slept. You were tired. It was a very exhausting day for you. In fact, it was very busy today. We were there for like 3 hours. That's a lot for them. But I never mind waiting for my vet because he gives all of the same time and special attention to everyone. And if that means that you need to talk his ear off for an hour because you're nervous about what your fur baby has going on, he lets you do it. And that's why it pisses me off to wait 10 minutes for my doctor, but I'll wait hours. I'll wait all day for my vet. I wish we could just clone my vet and put him into every practice for people and animals. Alright, ready? I'm so stupid. I was looking at the 3 of these and I couldn't find more, and I was like, well, I thought I had 6 of these. Where did the other bowls go? Like when you're a teenager and the spoons disappear? I was a spoon disappearer. And plot twist, Serena, the other 3 bowls have dry food in them. They're in here. They're in here. I feel like Corona beer must have suffered some sales loss just for the name alone. Yeah, and then MKO, like, it was not a good time in the world. Or possibly for beer either. Oh, I can't see any. I like conspiracies and all that, and I can't see anything with MK Ultra without thinking of the beer. I don't know why. It's not even like that's the beer that was always in our house growing up. Like my dad's a Dos Equis guy. Goodness golly. Now he's a, what is it, Blue Moon or something like. My uncle got him hooked on that one. Not like hooked on it, but he enjoys his after dinner drink or before dinner drink. Yummy hungries. Or fill up their food bowl after they're done eating. Boy, are you forking with the door? I'm gonna spend time with you. You are, honey. Okay. Everyone with their silly butts. Hold your butts down. Hold your butt. I will be right back. You are fine. Hi. Yes, your long distance stepfather. I don't know. Has a silly butt. He's a silly butt. Goodness golly. Gotta admit, Dos Equis commercials are great. The most interesting man in the world. I never knew actually what that guy was from, what commercial he was from. Is he really from Dos Equis? I always thought he was a whiskey commercial. The most interesting man in the world. No shit. I don't pay attention to what commercials are. Actually, there was a commercial on earlier of I'd seen it over and over again, and I'm starting to test myself, like test my memory. This is stupid, but I like doing stupid things. Just for no reason or some reason. I don't know. Eat the good girls eats. They have a little bit of reduced appetite today, but I'm also giving them like double slops. So still. Um, so what commercials like they repeat over and over and over and over and over again, like on the same streaming channel. I don't know if it's the same for like each show or I don't know. I don't go swapping between episode to episode to episode. I'm trying to train my brain if it's not obvious what the commercial is for to remember what it is in reference to. So like State Farm is like very obvious the way it starts. But there was one for a phone company earlier. I don't remember what phone company, maybe Verizon. But it starts off with a guy in a grocery store and I'm having my afternoon snack in with Void and I'm watching it. I'm like, what is this for? I've seen this commercial a million times. Do I really not know what it's for? Like, what is this guy going through a grocery store in reference to? I'm saving money on a phone bill plan. That's my new trying to figure out how to fix my memory check. Goodness golly. But I mean, it's, I don't know. Exactly. Testing your memory is good. It keeps those connections growing. So do I need to be referencing to commercials pointlessly? No. But is that something I can do pretty subconsciously in my spare time to strengthen the mind just a little bit, probably? Yes. Yes. Hulu is brutal for repeating commercials. It's like the same ones over and over and over. I'm watching House on Hulu right now, and it's over and over and over and over. Goodness golly. I feel like most times you can guess what a commercial is. Hi, Daisy. Then the first couple seconds. Some of them are more obvious than others, though. Voya? I need to go have words with my son. And lock the door. Because really? Like, really? That's unnecessary. Hi. Now this is just a game we're playing. I did not buy tokens for this. You pulled the door askew, son. I'm not dealing with this right now. We're not gonna do that. Oh my goodness. Boy is greedy. He got snuggle time earlier and he says, Mother, you never leave me again. Never again. Never again. Probably working in advertising makes it easier to suss out. You're more exposed to the concept of in general. What are you doing, girls? Come hang out for a minute. We gotta clean your boxies and whatnot in a sec here, darling. Hi. We gotta fill up your food. How you feeling? How you feeling? You got poopy pants? Say no. I'm doing a little better with that. I'm proud. Yes. Oh, baby brigade. Baby brigade. Really obscure ones are for jeweler these days. There have been several at the end where they weren't even sure what they were selling. Those are weird. I recently learned perfume commercials too. Correct me if I'm wrong, because this could just be someone talking out their ass on Twitter. But perfume commercials are so weird because each scene represents like a note of the scent. And now I really like watching perfume commercials because it's like, oh, what does this smell like? What is like Johnny Depp with a hyena on the mountaintop smell like? Hi. He was trying to jailbreak and he was meowing. So technically both. He didn't actually though. He was trying to. There was an attempt. There was an attempt. Nibbler's awfully snuggly today. Yes, you are. Stripes were trying for butt rubs. Hi, Miss Daisy. Hi, Miss Daisy. As soon as you are slightly solid, we are getting a full bath. We are figuring this out. She's a tiny kitten. We can do it. We can do it. Admittedly, pulling you into the bathtub at 4 a.m. was not a very good move for exposure on my part, but we can do it otherwise. We can do it. Are you sleepy? Are you sleepy? Are you sleepy? Say no, I bitey. I play. I play. You work on a campaign, you try to make it really obvious what's being sold. And people like me appreciate that. Ow! That hurt. Stripes is up on the scale, ignoring us all. I'm gonna do your guys' nails tomorrow. They're really long. The commercial is so obscure, it might make it intriguing, but at the end of the day, people need to be interested in what you're selling. Yeah, well, it needs to be obvious, too, because otherwise you're going to have people like me that can remember that there's a guy in a grocery store in a commercial, but ow! Not that it's for a phone plan, ultimately. Like, I'm just looking at it. I'm like, what is this for? Is it for saving money on groceries? Like, what can they advertise for that? Is this going to be like a Walmart ad? I don't know. And then, no, it was a phone plan. It was a phone plan. Everyone's trying to capture the old Apple commercials that were so different back in the day. They were. I forgot about those. They have the people in like the one color suits. Those were weird. Creativity like that has its time and its place though. Like that was like a breakout product. So a completely new style was kind of necessary to kind of make it go viral, and now it's just being repeated, and it's they're beating a dead horse with that creative sense at this point. Come up with new original ideas, says the girl who has no more new original ideas, only cats. I like to aim for funny, but funny is regional. Oh, that's true. Not all jokes translate well. You're so cozy. Stripes, you could be cozy too. You're such an independent girl. You want a mod? Yeah. No, if I tout that that's my new original idea to just get more cats, you guys are gonna think I have Alzheimer's quarterly. Can't do that. It's not an original idea. It's a proven concept. Babies. Bat Nibbler's gonna fall asleep on me, and I need to clean their boxies and fill their food. I feel so bad making you get up. But we're also gonna snuggle tonight, and I gotta spend some time with the boys. Yeah, she's asleep. She's completely asleep. Sleep. Sleep cat. I can't really see if we can see her from here. We're too far away. No. Off. Oh, that's weird. The flashlight operates slightly different on this phone versus the other one. I didn't know what I was doing for a minute. Theme for the night is letting black kitties sleep on you and upsetting them by getting up. Yeah. She's getting comfy now, too. Oh my god, girlfriend. Girlfriend. Oh, yay! Okay, I definitely. It looks like I'm stroking my pants. From what I can see, I can't make out any features. Looks a bit sus from my perspective. You sleepy. Sleepy. Oh my god, and you're getting comfy. You're just a little baby panther. You're a little baby panther. Little baby panther. I don't even have my thumbnail half the time on Restream, but from my camera showing up there, I don't have my glasses on. I can't see clearly that far. I just can't. Hi, I woke you up. I'm sorry. I love you. I love you. You guys had such a big day today, but we had to make sure you was healthy. I didn't even think results would be back today. I was surprised. I thought Wednesday at the earliest. Eat a baby. Eat a baby. Because we just did it last Thursday, I think. I didn't get charged for it, but I wonder if my vet rush ordered it. Oh, I think I mentioned the babies are going to get spayed on the 16th, but mom is too. So everyone's going to get all done on the same day, which is going to be interesting in recovery time. But we'll get it done. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. Mm-hmm. But the same trip, yeah. My vet has to have his elbow reconstructed. And he has elbow surgery that got moved to December 19th. And he said, for my peace of mind, he would prefer to do the surgery before his surgery. Like, not saying that he's going to do anything wrong or go back to surgery too soon after his surgery, but he said, I think you would feel better if we just got them all done on the same day. Which it's going to be, this has been a little bit expensive, not complaining, just saying objectively. So I'm going to pay for their spays, and I'll have to owe him for mom's spay, and that's okay. Or maybe I'll get a Christmas present. I don't know. We'll see. He said it's fine. Just get them all in the same day. So, okay. Doc gonna be busy for sure. For sure. I guess the only other surgery that day is a male kitten getting neutered. So they'll have a little boyfriend to hang out with in the recovery room. I just wonder how Void is going to react to so many kittens crying, because I would assume they're going to cry, like, while they're waiting for me in recovery. I'm nervous, but I'm always nervous when anyone goes under for anything. But I'll be relieved to have them all healthy and in a good state. And the sooner Void is spayed, even though everyone's fixed in my house, unaltered female cats sometimes do spray, like mark their territory. Sometimes. Void hasn't. I don't think she would. But then we'll be able to start socializing her with the rest of the zoo too. And I think at that point, when it's just after these guys are in their home, I'll start kind of associating Daisy and Void to the doggos and the cattos. Because if you can do good with dogs, you have a higher chance of getting adopted anywhere, which would be awesome. That would be nice. She's sleeping through me talking to her. Not the mama for Charlie to fight with. I hope not. Slavka is always going to be a crazy lady. But I think Void will be pretty chill with everyone. We'll hang out with her in a little bit. I want to bring some more toys into her room. She's playing a lot more now, which is really cool. Like, she's initiating her own play. Makes me happy. But there's only a couple toys in there for her. So you gotta bring more in. Charlie and Marbles actually get along quite well now, unless they're like face to face at mealtime and then anyone's grumpy. But I think it'll take a few years for Slavka to calm down for everyone. But I think, I mean, as long as Void is social with other cats, she was with males, but outside of, being horny or pregnant. As long as she can be social with other cats and mind the dogs, we'll be fine. Are you okay? Daisy she wakes up like a little kid and like blinks her eyes bleary and meows at me, and I start to panic inside. It makes me think something is wrong, and like I'm 99.9% sure she's fine, but it freaks me out every time. Like, what is wrong? What are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to tell me? She wakes up and she just... What are you trying to tell me? Are you gonna lay on the stream phone? Bless you. Bless you. Hi. What are you snuffling? I was just gonna eat some ass. Okay. The dream is to eat that deep. Oh god, yeah. I don't think I even slept that deep when I was a child. Baby's first emote. Almost. Almost. Alright, you're awake. Let's do some maintenance. Oh, no, she's gonna go back to sleep. No, we can do it. We can do some maintenance. We gotta do some maintenance. I'll be back in at midnight to do your meds. See, but that's not fun times. Okay. You gotta clean up just a little bit, and then if you want some more lap, I'll give you a little more lap, okay? We gotta clean up a little bit. We do. We gotta keep a tidy house. Ugh. And my vet said, based on the fact that it's viral and not bacterial, everyone in my house has probably been exposed to it. And thankfully, thank you, Light, everyone is doing fine. I think either mine just had it for a couple days, and then fought it off, or I just gave them stress colitis because I stress out. But we shouldn't have to, I'm still going to be abundantly cautious with germs, but we shouldn't have to be as insanely careful as I'm being. She's looking really sleep like Mama Void. Aw. Nibbler is a perfect little mini mom. She looks just like Void. She has the same random little like baby white patches. She looks just like Mom. She's a little mini Mom. The little mini Mom. Oh, well, I mean, she sleeps like Mom and she's sleek like Mom, so you're not wrong. Hi, Daisy. What are you doing? Do you just want to be a part of Tech Crew? That's all. Oops. What did I put? Oh no! What the phone? I know not what I have done. There we are. Stripes, you look like you've been punished into the corner. It's okay. I don't know what button I hit, but I did something. I did something. Alright, let's put their can out. And then we'll tidy up and we'll fill our kibblies a little bit. And then we'll smooch on everybody and then go see how Mom feels about toys. And then get your meds and hang out with the boys. Because boy is having a shit fit apparently. Let's just... he's a needy man. My stepfather is a very needy man. Oh, I gotta take my stupid lard. Hello, Stinkers. Nibbler, you're looking awfully pathetically cute. My goodness. Hello, Stripies. Hello, Daisy. Scoop some foods while I scoop some poops. I want to rush out your bowls before night, but you didn't eat all of it yet. You might still want to nibble on it. You just might. You just might. You're such a tiny little mighty bean. Why are you so cute? Who made you so cute? Clean up, everybody, everywhere. Clean up, clean up. You don't have to do your share. All you gotta do is just poop solid, please. Verticals. Verticals. Gotta let everything run its course and be all better. You tell me do gurgly Daisy. Hello, Stripies. You're such a good helper, thank you. Thank you. There we go. Number 1. Number 2. Daisy is lording over me on the chair, like watching my every move, inspecting, making sure everything's up to standard. Inspector Daisy. Like Inspector Gadget. Although you have an abundance of cuteness. And that could be a weaponized gadget. You never know. What are you doing, girly Liz? See, I would like to be a couch potato. That is my desire in life. Daisy May, the overlord. The overlord of the century.
What are you doing in that bag? This is not for kitties. That's for cleanups. That's for cleanup. You're very silly. You're very silly. Yes, you are. You're a little silly sweet baboo. And I love you. Yes, I do.
Can't believe you guys are getting spaded. And all your shots and all everything on the 16th. Oh my god.
I'm happy right now, but I'm probably going to be emotional going forward. Definitely gonna have a big cry when Stripes and Nibbler go home, but in a good way. I was thinking a lot about that earlier. It's like, I'm gonna miss them so much. Like, this has been such a special timeline in my life. But then I was thinking about it more, and it's like, God, how can you be so selfish? Like, meaning me. Like, how dare you? Don't do that. Like, Ringo has his training coming up. I might have to reschedule it because of his Giardia. I don't know. You have to ask my vet about that. I'm still working on socialization with Tank. We got socialized mom. You get Diesel's leg healed. Like, everyone else needs me too. It's very selfish of me. Very selfish. Selfish. But this has been an awfully special experience. Gotta make sure the house is stable and capable and rescue ready for the next situation that arises. And that everyone else is happy and healthy and attended to. You are so silly. They fill up their bowls and then Stripes is like, what? Give me food out of the container. You're so silly. You gonna munch a little bit more? Munchy, munchy, crunchy. Munchy, munchy, crunchy. Good girl, Daisy. Nibbler, you chillin'? Stripes, I just filled up your bowls with food. You know this. We did it. We did it. Stripes only does Happy Tail lovin's with me when she's being naughty. Like, I really did create another mini monster. Oh, there she goes. Are you being naughty? Now she's gonna put her tail up and purr. Then I try to pet her when she's not being naughty. And she's like, oh wait, no, I'm not into the concept of that. I'm not here for that. Hi, silly boob. Hi, silly boob. You like being a little badass, huh? Yes. And then playtime. Playtime. Give me that tummy. Give me that tummy. Oh, happy butt. Oh, happy butt. You are ridiculous. I love you. Yes. She is so cute and silly. Oh, that's too big of a name. Little stripy pants. You're gonna get her, Daisy? No, my stripes. My stripes. Oh my goodness. Hey, big girl. There we go. Give me that belly. Give me that belly. Give me that belly. Meow, 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 meow. We hadn't done that before. That's an interesting one, huh? Aw, you're such a little weirdo. I love you, Stripes. You're a strange bird. You're a strange bird. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're so weird. I love that for you. She's so strange. Like, I socialize them the same. And she is just so much different than the other two. I think she's finally coming around. I think she was determined to dislike me from the start simply because you had to be taken to the vet as you were being born. And that was traumatizing. Your first moments in the world, your first smells, bless you, were of me traumatizing you. And she held a vendetta, she held a grudge. Now we're coming back around. I love you, sweetness. I love you, sweetness. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Little belly boo. You usually don't let me do this for this long. I'm proud of you. I think you just want to chase my watch and you're waiting to get it. Straight strapey pants. You're just having a time of it with that drawstring. Yes. Nibbler doing an eep. You just, what are you doing? Chasing ghosts? There's nothing there. Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. See, no, my belly rubs. Oh, you're such a sweet girl. Look at your little beans. Look at those little murder mittens. Look at those little murder mittens. You got the cutest little belly. Yes, you do. Boop, boop, boop. Sweet girl. Sweet girl. Need to relax. Are you gonna fall asleep? She might fall asleep. She's stubborn. No. Sleep is for the weak. Oh, you're so cute. You're so cute and silly. You're so cute and silly. This is the most adorable view. Oh my gosh. Oh, did you roly-poly over? Hello, darling. Stripey pants, happy butt. Oh, now it's just full-on play mode. Okay. You are so silly. Get it. Get it. Get it. Oh, wild bean. Oh, wild beans. Toys are so silly. Here, let's get some of your actual toys. And we'll bring some toys in for Mom, too. What do you think? Say, no, don't move. Got you. Got you. And sing me some of the Velvet Underground. I'm sticking with you. 'Cause I'm made out of glue. Anything that you might do, I'll follow you through. Don't lose your balance. Oh my goodness. Wild creatures. Creatures of the Black Lagoon. Stripes, you're taking this way too seriously. You want the one on my hoodie? Is that what you're after? Are we climbing on up? You're such a derp.
Okay. Okay. Hi, Daisy Butt. Hi, Stripey Pants. You gotta let go of my pants, girl. Get you some of your toys. Let's get you some of your toys. You're so cute and silly. You're so cute and silly. You're adorable. Welcome, Midnight Dynamite. Hope the day has been kind to you so far. Oh, wild beans. Nibbler's taking a nap. She says nap time. Nap time. You pull out your toys. And we'll get some toys for Mini Mom, too. Well, Big Mom, technically, but, you know. Close enough. There's Ball, Floof. I think I see Fishy. There's Fishy. Fishy is a good friend. Fishy is fun. Fishy is fun. Wild girls. Get it. Get it. Alright, you girls be good. I'm gonna do meds in about 45 minutes. But you can pop in with your mother for a little bit. Yes. Yes. And dog sitting. Oh, that is adventurous. Oh my goodness. You bopping up and over? Okay. Okay. What kind of dog is it? Sweetness. I love you. I love you. Are you back with me in just a few? My little peanut boos. My little peanut boos. My little ponies. Black Labradoodle. Is he big? Some well, like, bigger than, like, an average sized dog. Some Labradoodles I saw when I used to groom dogs were huge. Makes me wonder what else they were mixed with. I feel like a standard poodle and a lab are, like, average size. And they're just way bigger than that. Interesting combined genetics. Big barrel-chested boy. Aw. Labradoodles are so sweet, but they have such goofy energy. They're silly goobers. There's all that. Change out of kitten room clothes. Where did I put my socks? Where did I take my socks off? Oh. He just wanted to be in a noise competition with the amber lamps. Yowls at planes? That's an interesting one. That's an idiosyncrasy I've not heard of yet. Howling at planes. Ah! Everything is falling! There we go. I need to clean my camera. Mess. Hi, Void! She's in the house. She's been going up there recently, which is really cool. I'm proud of her. I'm very proud. There we go, Bean. Oh no, don't swipe out, just clean. Thank you. Well, hello, Miss Lady Man. You gonna say hi to everybody? You gonna say hi? You gonna see how you feel about some new toys. I don't know which ones she'll like or not. We'll see. There's a plethora of toys that are great, but I don't feel like are super baby safe that I have set to the side. Excuse me, ma'am. Because you're just a baby in a grown-up body. You are. You're just a baby. You gotta have your chance to be a silly, sweet baby. Little baby girl.
Miss Thing. Miss Thing. Could turn a light on in here. That would probably help. So used to my bedroom being like this ambient chill zone. I don't even notice that the light is not. So I look up at the camera and I'm like, oh, hi. She likes this thing, but it freaks her out a little bit when I turn it on. They're Christmas themed ones. I think she'll like the springs. What do you think? You check it out? What about Fluffy Ball? See, I feel like the kittens would love these too, but they'd probably also eat like the tinsel on them. It's not tinsel, but I think you're smarter than that. Does it bounce up? Kind of. Oh, I have pipe cleaners in the other room. I should bring some of those in for you. You like those. You like those. What about Bat Mouse? You can cut his tail off. Do I have scissors in here? I don't think so. No, I can't just pull that. I don't think you'll eat the tail, but at the same time, I also don't know. Looks sus. But then he's just a potato bat if he doesn't have his tail. What do you think? What do you think? I don't know. We'll think about that one. You got some pom-poms. Does that look like fun? What about... What's the colors? Rainbow ball. Doot, 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 doot. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe. Or you just want love. You just want love. I don't know if you're ready for feather toys yet. You can do another one of these. I don't remember if you like that in the other room. Do more. That's my elbow. Ball and pom-pom. Try with those. Try with those. Love me. I don't care about toys. Just love me. She doesn't really like care when I initiate play, so I'm not surprised she's not overly thrilled and just wants attention right now. She usually plays like while I'm eating, like when I'm halfway through my meal. She wants some love at first, and then she goes off and does her own thing, like eats or lays down somewhere else. Then she gets up and starts getting interested with the blankets or socks on the ground or whatever she wants to play with. She's been going up in the tree too, which is really cool. I'm proud of her. Being fucking summoned. Go be summoned, Midnight Dynamite. I appreciate you. She's also kind of being a lap kitty, which she's blending in, but is also very impressive. I'm proud of you, Miss Lady Ma'am. I'm proud of you. You're a very good girl. You're very sweet. And she like realizes she's being too much of a house cat, and she's like, oh shit, better back off. Doing too much. Just wanted to hang the string on it there. You like the idea of this guy? He's a little winter teddy bear. You know, she's making such big, good progress. Do some star. You already have a crinkle in here. Here's another one. And we'll do one of these too. This mousy have less of a tail. Yeah, we can do this mousy. I feel good about that mousy. I know, she's out chewing on my weenus, but slowly making progress, which is awesome. Or she's building trust. She's being willing to trust. I'm very proud of her. Purple! Misheard that, I'm sure. I don't know what I said. I say many things. She's being adventurous, though. We're proud. We're proud. Proud to be a Club Coltian, where at least I know I get feed. Mom makes the bed for me and fills my water fully. Oh my goodness. Not sure what to type in. Whatever I said, I don't know what I said, but I probably meant it depending on what it is. Or it was just demented, depending on what it is. Little lap girly. What did I say? I have no idea. I was existing in the moment with the toy girl. The toy girl. Hello, little peanut. You're so happy right now. Nighttime is void time. No better than to argue with the cult leader. Hold a debate for him. All opinions are valid. All opinions are valid. Well, no. I changed my. I'm shutting my mouth. I changed my tune on that. Too tired for profound thoughts. I slept a little bit yesterday. I napped a little bit today. I got probably an adequate amount of sleep. I probably slept like 7 hours total between this morning and this afternoon. But I'm still tired. The body just slows down when it's sick. It does. That's how you guys conned me into pizza pants. Fever brain. God, I woke up feeling wretched though, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong? And the world is just like spinning and just, oh. And I took my temperature and I was like, well, geez, you got germs. It was very annoying. Like, I've had little colds and flus in between, but nothing that's like a super big fever or like knocks me down like that. I was out of it yesterday. I don't remember most of yesterday. Hi, Void. You gonna inspect the tripod? Okay, let's get some food. Eat the foods. Eat the foods. Can't blame the pizza pants for being sick. No, I can't, because I've had them for years. I can't. I can't blame them for that. They were an active choice in my lifetime. But say love me. Say love me. You gonna be a crunchy girl? Okay. You're gonna eat. You got your toys in here. I don't think there's anything I need to mark off on the calendar. I just have to do baby meds at midnight. Let's spend some time in with the boys, because clearly Zeke wants that. Clearly Voya wants that. Gunther probably wants that, but he's too polite to say it. Gunther is being like the golden child. Like, Zeke will be sitting like impatiently for me at the door, and then Voya will mess with the door. And Gunther is just like, I'm the good boy. I'm gonna wait in bed for Mom. It's funny. And Chauncey hardly ever get to be matchy. Yeah. Well, he's tan. I'm pale. It's not my fault. Though it probably is far, well, not so much anymore, but in general, it's probably far and few between to have a surplus of like matching animal and people pajamas versus like family pajamas, like mom and kids. I love you, Void. You're a good girl. You're crunchy munchy. Crunchy munchy munchy. Crunchy munchy munchy. Yeah, you keep an eye on the boys. You lord over us. You make sure that we're being good in the stream room. Okay? Okay. Okay. See, now the hallway is closed and we could have just had an easy entrance back in, but no, the door had to be locked and you're being ridiculous. Daisy, you're very cute. Stripes, you're very cute. Nibbler, you're very cute. I love you, my sweet baboos. I love you, my sweet baboos. My sweet baboos. Hand sanitizer just for good measures. Because we are going into the immunocompromised room. I'm sure if you're glad or remiss that you and your family never had matching PJs. I think they're like cute for a Christmas picture if everyone wants to do it. But my aunt used to like force stuff like that with my niece and nephew, and they didn't enjoy it. Like my niece was pretty okay with it, but my nephew didn't like it. And if it's forced, it shouldn't be done. Everyone's going to enjoy it, and that's everyone's idea. Hell yeah. Otherwise, eh. Eh. Hell, Devin, you're a bunch of asterisks too. Silly boys. Silly boys. We are back. I think. Assuming I unmuted myself, yes. Brother and you had matching clothes sometimes because your mom would just get us the same thing. It's easier that way. I mean, yeah, if it fits both of you guys, or one is going to grow into the other, definitely. That's just smart thinking. As young lads, it's our duty to be a pain in the ass for any group activity. It was found workarounds for that, though. If I needed my nephew to smile in pictures and not just do the awkward, just show your teeth and try not to growl smile. Instead of like say cheese, I would come up with a new swear word every time that he needed to smile. Like say motherfucker, say goddamn it, say you bitch. And I always got the best smiles. And my aunt would just be, until I told her what I was doing, which she was okay with, thankfully. She's like, how are you getting them to grin like that? You're so stubborn with me. Like, I'm cussing. It was a solid methodology. Okay, Zeke. In order of operations of big feels here. Clever girl indeed. It worked excellently. It was wonderful. It was perfect. It was fantastic. It was phenomenal. I was very proud of that. I was very proud of that. Yes, we was. Yes, we was. Boya was needy first. Boya, do you want up? Oh my god! They made a mess. Good lord. Good lord. Someone just won the litter kicking Olympics without even participating. The Winter Olympics. I moved the boxes into here so like the entryway is neat and tidy. And no one's upset by it, but holy lord. I thought I would encourage them to use the other boxes again because everyone's using Zeke's box. Which is annoying, to say the least. But no, that didn't happen that way. We're all just using one same box, even though there's 4 available.
Okay, now, love me. Okay. Get your love time in. I know, they just want to feel pretty. Feel pretty? Oh, so pretty. Pretty little Voya bean. You just need some attentions. Big golunk. Love you, Voya. I'm sorry I grouched at you, but you scratched my neck the other night. I had a very dramatic reaction to that. That was embarrassing. This is Voya's preferred vantage, looking down upon Zeke. Lording over. Look what I get to do. He's so funny. He just reminds me of like a cat in a tree. A big cat in a tree. Like a leopard. Oh my god. You're so silly. You're so silly. You're so cozy. You just gotta give them a few minutes. We interrupt the stream to bring you cats needing attention. Are you satisfied? You satisfied? He does. It's his little rattlesnake tail. He always does it. He's the only cat that I don't pay attention to with it. It's not a good... When he's really irritated, he'll like thwomp it hard. But he's the only cat you don't have to pay attention to that indicator to. It's okays. Even when he's sleeping, it taps a little bit. Unless he's in a super deep sleep. It's very interesting. I really think it's like just a survival mechanism that he picked up somehow being a street cat. Either learned or inherited behavior. Because his tail kind of looks like a snake. And if there's always a snake in the grass, other predators probably don't want to fuck around. He's part dog. That's what it is. He's got a happy tail. Like in Shallow Hal. You sweet boy. My big galunk. You gonna scratch my back for me? Give me a back rub? Back rub would be nice. That'd be nice. You sweet boy. You sweet boy. Like, he's as relaxed as can be, but his tail still does that. You're so weird. Are you ready for down? Okay. Now, a few moments in the realm of Zeke, and then we attempt to put my butt on the chair somehow. I don't know how that's gonna work. We got treats on the way for you. Are you happy? We have purrs. Purrs have entered the building. Oh my goodness. What if he's just teasing the other street cats who don't have a tail? Oh, don't say that. One of my cats that's also a rescue from the neighborhood. He only has... He's missing probably about this much of his tail. He has not a nub, but not the full tail. I actually discovered that recently, because he didn't let me touch his tail until recently. And I realized it doesn't... Like, cat tails shouldn't feel like a thumb at the end. They're like a pinky, like they're skinny at the end. The spine gets smaller. And his does not get smaller. It's kind of nerve-wracking. I would presume that at some point he got hit by a car, like, over the years. Because his hips be wonky. I don't know what else would cause that except maybe a car, but he probably lost his tail in that process, too. Don't talk smack about Tank. Tank and his little nub butt. I really just always thought he had a short tail. Like, usually their tails are proportionate to their full-grown size. But I really thought that he just had a short tail. But I didn't know any better. Zeke has a short tail, though. But his also has, like, some kind of break in it. I don't know, he has the weird wonkies in his tail. But Marbles has a short tail. And she doesn't have wonkiness, so I don't know. Tank is loved here. Tank stands. Simp for Tank. Don't simp for me. Simp for Tank. He deserves it. I've had enough attention in my life. He hasn't. He has 6 years on the street to make up for. Oh, hello, Mr. Bean. Hello, Mr. Bean. Gunther, you're just being the golden child, sleeping. Eeping. Hi, babies. I love you. You gonna let me put my butt in the chair? Are you gonna let me? Are you gonna let me? No? Can I sit too? Is that Mad? He has the same whiny meow for Mad and normal whine. Hey. Is it okay that my butt's there? Okay, we're purring. We're happy. We're happy. It's hard for him to misbehave if he's always asleep. What is wrong? I don't think anything's wrong. Just the urgency of, like, his sense of meow. It makes me think something is wrong. Like when Daisy wakes up and meows. Gunther is the most well-behaved. He really is, actually. Gunther and Marbles don't cause no smoke. They're the most well-behaved. Chong occasionally is a sassy pants. Well, Kid doesn't go out of his way to be a sassy pants. Gunther, Kid, and Marbles are the most well-behaved, I would say. What's running that doesn't need to be? Want to play some games. Close that. Oh, derp. It's been running raw. That's nice. Okay. That should be much happier. Zeke wouldn't have it any other way. He reacting to all his meows with the utmost attention. Well, I mean, that's why domesticated cats do meow, is to get our attention. It mimics a baby's cries. So he definitely succeeds in his efforts. He gets the point across that he means to. Oh my god. I still haven't changed my antivirus and it's been doing shit in the background. What else is running on here? That. Right, we're gonna let her cool down for a second. Calm down, cool down. And then bop into some games. Play a little bit of Wizards tonight because low effort brain energy want serotonin for magic games. What? See, he's tail tapping though. He's a little bit annoyed right now. What's wrong? I don't know if it's my presence. At some point I think Gunther really liked the chair and I had 2 chairs in here. Do I have to get another chair? Hi, Boya. Now he can go sleep. I don't know. Every time I move, he meows. Oh my god. 2 cats, one of them doesn't have any brain cells. Aww. But that's okay. That's what we're here for, to think for them. Or at least try to. Must click things for brain feel good. Yes. 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 Sometimes we just need that in life, and I guess, like, thank goodness we play Wizards instead of gambling. I don't know, Voya, do you want to choose some Gamba for tonight? He doesn't look like he's in the mood. Don't move. Clear. Soft motion. I want to put my feet down. I'm afraid he's gonna get cranky. Okay. Like, he's not gonna lash out at me and be mean. I just don't want to. I don't want to upset the balance and the force over here. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Zeke's just a delicate boy. Big feelings. He's just a delicate little gentleman. Alright, let's play some Wizards. Calm down, computer. Calm. Calm. Sweet boy. I really do have a feeling that his tummy is upset from the antibiotic that I gave him. He's not a little people. He doesn't know to eat a meal with it. I'm excited to get you treats for you, though. You're gonna like those. You're gonna like those. Zeke is the ultimate girlfriend trainer. Put a blanket on. He complains. Take the blanket away. He complains. You know, for being a shelter cat, you know, you are awfully picky. And that's okay. You're allowed to be picky. You can be as picky as you want to be. But it's interesting. It's interesting. No, maybe you're just never a street cat, hopefully. And that's why you're entitled. Blurp. Do 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 do. Good sweet boy. 10 minutes. I will get locked in. I gotta remind myself. I'm setting a timer. It's gonna make annoying cricket sounds in 10 minutes because then I have to do BB's meds. It'll go chirp chirp. Chirp chirp. Likes to use his head as he breaks full zoomy mode. Oh no! I mean, that's using your noggin, but not the way you're supposed to. Oh, that bird in the game I thought was the cat for a second. Freaked me out.
Please get me some enchanted wood from one of the wooden constructs in the Golem Tower. My grade depends on it.
Giggity. But what was I in the middle of last time? Crickets, I feel like, are the most soothing, calming. I don't think I've leveled up. Yeah, we're still leveling. Most soothing, calming, like, timer alarm on the iPhone. I guess that's what we were doing last time. Okay, fair. Fair. Ha, thank you. I like this shirt. Oh, we're going in here? And climbing the tower? Christmas wizards! I mean, I did kind of accidentally create a cult. But with good intention. No Kool-Aid. All free will. The anti-cult cult, which inevitably is still a cult. Crickets in my home means I need to catch it. Crickets in my home means Slavka got it. She's impressive. That's it? I feel like we did that last time, or maybe I'm just remembering years ago.
Oh, thank you so much.
So you have the same quest to start with for like ever and ever and ever and ever. So you know you really like a game. You're willing to do the same thing over and over again. You're okay with being in borderline insanity.
A clockwork golem a couple floors up should have one. Would you go get it for me?
Okay.
I hear they are rather tough, so you better be prepared.
And climb the tower like it's Mortal Kombat. How are Daisy's cricket catching skills? I don't know yet. They have not seen a bug yet, which is wonderful. Knock on wood. Ain't no bugs on me. Maybe bugs on some of those pugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. But I do wonder. She's better with slow-moving toys. I wonder if she's... I feel like Stripes would be a good mouser. But maybe not so much Daisy. It's okay. We can laugh about that now. Now that we know they're on the mend. Only bug they've already caught. The virus. Oh, my poor kiddos. I don't like that we just gotta wait it out and there's nothing else I can do, but at the same time, I am... Oh, dang it, I fizzled. I'm relieved that there wasn't something I could have done more proactively sooner. I forgot to change our category. Because I was feeling bad about that. I was kind of kicking myself for not running a test more preemptively. I don't know what this would be. I'm trying to change game categories, and I typed in WIZA for Wizard 101, and it came up with Wizard with a Gun. What is that? Sounds interesting, but like counterproductive. Like if you have magic, aren't you using magic? Wizard with a gun. It sounds so cool, but I also feel like it's probably like phone game quality. Oh, I need health at some point. Oopsies. 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 Whoopsies. I do kick myself very often. I hold myself very heavily accountable. It's both a good and a bad habit, I think. Because if I'm keeping myself accountable, I'm the only person keeping myself accountable. So it's my responsibility to keep myself accountable, on track, doing my best, doing the most, etc. I'm the only one responsible for me. There's not a parent guiding my life anymore. I am grown, etc. And that's definitely something I've gotten worse about over the years. It's a bad habit that I've developed, is being hard on myself. But I'm afraid that if I fizzled again, if I'm not some level of hard on myself, and it's just about having the happy balance, I don't know. What if I would ever be lax in my choices? I don't think I would be, but heaven forbid. I guess I know what levels of like irresponsibility I'm capable of. Like neglecting school, neglecting cleaning my room, etc. Like who I was when I was a teenager, and I want to always be better than that. Not that my life has ever been messy litter boxes, but messy me. The clockwork golems. I need to heal myself. Oh, Schnapple. There's a game you played called Tactical Breach Wizards, which was like SWAT with wizards. Did you take down like anyone's or like specifically bad guys? How did that go? Like, what? What the fucking fizzle is tonight? What the fizz? What the fizz and fizzle? Ain't that right, Zeke? That's so rude. So rude. That's been the same glitch for years where his voice like wonks out for a second. Heal. Heal. Story is law enforcement. Whether breaking the law makes a bad guy or not is up for debate. Well, it depends. Are you the Joker or Batman? It's simplified down to those two quantifiable traits. Are you the Joker or are you the Batman? Meh. Only a Sith would view the world in absolutes. Shh, don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone. Oh, dang. Dang. You might be Sithing it up, Zeke. I'm being neutral Sith Lord, somewhere in the middle. But wait, is Sith only view an absolute? You couldn't do that if you view it only an absolute. God damn it. I have no solution for any of that. I just realized I'm sitting so proper, and for why? I have my legs crossed like etiquette style. I have my hand on my lap all nice, like... Do you inspire me to hold myself together, Zeke? Oh, I'm gonna die. I was not paying attention to my health. I'm gonna die. Doom, 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 doom. I died. Zeke is etiquette trainer master, poised and proper. I think so. I don't know. Might just be the lack of space that I have, that this is kind of how, like, I'm bracing myself, so to speak, but... I just realized that I'm sat so proper. So proper. Penny dreadful. And some random manifest. It's really busy in here tonight. Babies. It always startles me, and it's like the most soothing one. Here, enjoy whatever the drama is. Someone's meowing, and the kittens need medicines. Need to act more ladylike around him. Maybe I do. I don't know. You used to have really good etiquette. My aunt was reminding me of that. My dad's mom was very big on, like, etiquette and politeness and holding yourself proper, etc. She was a society lady. And I was trying to think back in my life, like, to where did that stop? I put my elbows on the table. I cuss. I don't know at what point in my life. Like, I know how to have etiquette, but I don't naturally have good etiquette anymore. And at some point, I think I was trained to naturally have it. And at some point, I untrained myself from naturally having it, and oops. Oops. I'd like to get that back, but, like, who the fuck has the time for that? Like, father, like Serena, yeah. I don't know. I think I still have good etiquette in terms of speaking, like, kindly and mindfully. Mostly. Mostly. But otherwise, I do not. Oops. Oops! Where'd the drama go? Speak amongst yourselves, children. There's a dragon. I want a dragon. Okay. Baby meds, and I'm gonna run down and give monster meds. I will burb, 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 burb. Now my shirt says BRB. So fancy. So fancy. So fancy. Do 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 do. Myself am very high class, but willing to forgive most faux pas. I am made of many faux pas, many of which are 4 paws. I don't know if that deserves this or not, but... And exit stage right. Oh, I will be right back, my love. It is okay. It is okay. That was not a good stage exit. And that's okay, too. I shall return. playing with one of the mousy toys. I'm chilly, and I could plug the blanket in, but then this feels like less effort. There we go. Oh, I thank you. I thank you. I'm a bit witty sometimes. I am positive about this. Positively positive. Why is everything censored in this game? Because there's children. Children. Must protect the children. You gotta turn this. You can turn the censor off. What? Oh, no. Realms. Privacy options. Oh. No. I should have checked those. NPC chatter on or off. What? I don't know what that does. Classic mode is the best, by the way. There is like a newer, like more beefed up version of this. But classic is best. All about the cozy vibes indeed. It's Gunther's favorite sweater. How could we deny its beautiful existence? Okay. And my health bloomed itself back up. Nice. Oh, I'm not going for a swim. Let's get some mana. Get on our way, mama jammas. Oh, that's not the right way. Hey, you'd think I could follow an arrow, but huh? You could be surprised. Sometimes they got a whale. It's cool. Sometimes there's little bits of mana in between the buildings. It's been mid to high 70s. Oh god, I fucking hate you. Oh, I didn't realize it would take me right into here. No, I need more mana first. Oops. Back we go. Back we go. I am so jealous. Fuck you. It's been so cold here. It was in the teens the past couple of days. It's raining and the snow is melting. And it's like 30 something. A little bit above freezing today. Or tonight. Tomorrow it'll be decent, and then it's gonna freeze and snow again. We haven't had a winter like this since like I was in high school. And that kind of tracks. I feel like the weather kind of repeats itself about every 10 years. It's definitely cyclical, but to what degree, I don't know. This is feeling very akin to like a 2011 winter. I think that's mostly all the mana we can get. I definitely thought his like glowing staff thing was a ball of mana. Whoops. The game is glorpy tonight. I don't like either. I really don't know. I don't know, like... Maybe it's just the consecutivity to snow so close to my birthday. But it's like, am I really just gonna live through this the rest of my life? And the snow is pretty. I like looking at it. But the cold and the snow combined, I just don't want to be in it. I don't want to drive in it. I don't want to have to go out in it. I don't want to shovel it. You want to do lap? Bless you. Bless you. I suspect he might have the respiratory version of bless you, what the kittens have, but the antibiotic I gave him earlier will knock out that and any PP issues. It's exactly what my dad says. Snow is nice if you don't have to do anything. He's not wrong. Oh, I'm gonna have to have my arm curled around him. And this is how we've decided to lay for the evening. No, I want the chair the other way. Ah. Are you sick of me zapping us around here? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm annoying. You can sit on my lap if you want to. Come here. You're gonna fall over. Oh my god. Okay. Back to the same thing. Love that for you. Zeke is very particular tonight. I love him. I do not complain, but he is very particular tonight. He says, "This is how I want life to be, and this is how it will be. No option for anything else." It's been very cat. Maybe your workout with cat curls. Oh, that'll be interesting. Not gonna hurt myself squatting Voya again, though. That was funny. Oh my goodness. More like getting my shoulder stretch in from sleeping on the floor with the BBs. I don't trust not bringing in one random germ from the pad that was in here, or the pad that's in Ringo's room, or in Munster's room, definitely. And I'm not gonna buy another one, because it's just ridiculous. I can sleep on the floor. I can do that. It's not hard to do. Oh, I need to heal. Jeez, watch your health. I think some days I just completely forget that health exists within game. It's not ideal. It is not. And there is no health. Damn it. So I need health my first casting next baby. I'm allowed to move. We're sharing the chair. Sometimes forget that health exists IRL too. Yes. Yes. I don't know. I don't even know how to put this into words. Not even sure if I understand my own process. Maybe my health will regen if I don't know if it'll do that in a tower or not if I just stand here for a minute. Let's see and find out. Oh! I didn't know that would, shit! I thought it would bring up like a selector. Oops. I mean, cool, but oops. Oopsies. Oopsies. How to phrase. Meow. I very willingly and self-imposedly, this feels loud to me tonight, just zoom through life. And I have a zoo, so there's always a lot going on, and everything I say is gonna sound like complaining. I don't want to phrase it that way. Not often necessarily overwhelmed, but often a little bit like worn thin. Definitely often tired. Which, not in a bad way, like in a way that my life serves purpose. Which I appreciate and I'm grateful for. I wouldn't trade it for the world, like not at all. But I think that in itself makes it hard to get out of the tunnel of everything else going on and realize that, oh, you're sick, you're not just tired, or yesterday was a long day, or it's been a long week, or whichever. It takes me like a good sleep or a good 24 hours to wake up and like, oh, there's something else going on here. I know I wasn't feeling great the last time I was actually live on stream versus just streaming the babies. But I assumed I was just normal tired. And now I know I was wrong. You had a fever. Had a fever. Oopsies. Probably, I don't know. I just tunnel into life so hard that I don't pay attention to external signs. I just assume that it's the norm. Because being tired and starting to get sick feel pretty much the same. Ah. You just feel kind of out of it. Ba-dum bum 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 bum. Had a fever and the only cure was more cowbell. What if Chauncey's tags broke off and now his collar sounds like a cowbell? It was making me laugh when they were outside earlier. What is going on with you, son? One of the tags that I got them for Christmas last year, which they're so cool. They had QR codes on them instead of like info, but they did not last. Not good quality. Resist because I am the darkness. I am the darkness. Ziki, can I put my leg down? Okay, thank you. Okay, do you just want to sit together instead of pets? See, I don't know if that meow means mad or if it means acknowledge and love. We'll find out over time. We got many years to keep getting to know you, Zeke. His coat is kind of cow patterned. Dots connecting. He is a moo cow. He's a brown cow. He's chocolate milk puppy. I have 90 health. We're gonna die. Oh my god. I can't get through a single dang tower. I just want to level up. Just let me do the quests. That time I did watch my health, but we didn't get a lot of health cards. And I fizzled. Yeah, I'm dead. Cooked. Done. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Redemption arc. Redemption arc. Woo. Reinvigorate. Annihilate. Reinvigorate and annihilate. Uh-oh. And get 8. Big damage. Big damage. They look funny when they die. I feel bad saying that. But go complete. Collected charged gear. Okay. Go. Go, go, go. Honey, I'm allowed to move.
You've been a big help. There is no way I could have gotten one of those myself. My project is
Zeke's like a jealous boyfriend. He wants to complain about everything I do.
It's going to be tough, so you don't have to do it if you don't want to. It'll require
Jealous or possessive or both.
to complete my project. The only one I won't blame you if you don't want to do it, but if
The
you do,
iron golems.
treasure cards for defeating the iron golem and bringing me the steam capacitor. Deal?
Just at the top of the tower. That's some tough work. That's a tall ask. Oh, jeez. Golly gee willikers, Batman. Don't get stuck on a tree. You got stuck on a tree. Congratulations. What are these? They're flowers. Did not think that they were flowers. Is there any more mana floating around? Can we survive? Let's see. I can't believe I clicked the potion bottle. That was dumb. Ah. Don't talk to her. Don't move. Hey, I was using that. Yep. If Zeke could speak, that exactly. That exactly. Okay. Do that one. I just do wonder why you're so sensitive tonight. That's a good word for how he feels. He's feeling sensitive tonight. But why? That's what he's saying. He downloaded Kittens to your Google Translate. Speaking fluent Zeke. I guess he needs to speak again to add the make my treats get here faster. Got some special ones coming for you. Little prescription treats. Bloodbat. Bloodbat. Bah. Demands for treats is an undercurrent of all he says. You can read between the lines. He holds up his why I oughta paw. Read between the lines. Is that how you do it kitty style? Meow. You're just sitting up and meowing. Like what? What does that mean? You're making me so nerve-wracked. What is wrong? Is something wrong? Can you tell me with your words? Tell me with your big boy words. Honey, my love. Now he's sitting up all awkward. What the fork is going on in my life? Making me look bad in front of Club Cult. I'm sorry. I'm not speaking for you. Cyogenics deciphered your cat knees. Something is not settled in the land of Zeke. I don't know what it is. Buddy, bro. We kinda gotta lay with the babies tonight unless we absolutely can't. And we kinda don't have a car tomorrow. And Ubering is kinda expensive. We gotta be okay, my friend. I don't think my health regenerates, just chillin'. So we're just gonna hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Because that's what one does in these scenarios. We win. Not yet, but eventually. Dun 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 dun. That has like Sailor Moon vibes. Hello, baby boy. We okie dokie, my little artichokey. Zoo exists to keep me on my toes. Excuse me. Apey girl. Cast spell of eternal optimism. Precisely. Said, baby, don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Alright. Gotta remember which black cat likes what. Zeke likes butt pats. Void does not. Zeke likes being sung to. Void does not. That still baffles me. Like, does she think I'm like a weird, loud, like, cat yowling voice? Never met a cat. I mean, I'm not a great singer, but like, that is freaked out by it. Like, personally offended. I feel so bad. Need health. Now, right meow, I might die first. Oh god. He's like 95 damage, 65. What are you gonna cast? I'm in trouble. 65 again, we can survive. 75. Oh my god. Oh, Schnapski. Void is just a social media BB. She's gonna be famous. Put her up on the big screen. I'm gonna die. Let's do that. She's a sweet girl. She was playing with some of her toys when I walked by. I'm glad she's starting to act like a... She's feeling comfortable and confident enough to act like a real cat. She's my brave little toaster. I'm excited to see what her progress is going to be over time. She's a wizard. Welcome, G. I hope you're having a good night so far. Or good day. The sun is up and the coffee is brewing sooner or later by you. Other side of planet Earth. Hello! Hello! Do you hear me? Am I loud enough? That might take him out. Might take him out. I've been good. How about you? You excited for Santa to come? Oh god, that hurt. Oops. Santa Paw is gonna bring some good stuff. Victory! Oh, we got a simple opal ring. Wait, we can like equip different things. I forgot that we can upgrade the creature. The human. The wizard. 'Cause right now we have the opal band. But that would be better. Equipping is not my strong suit. Oh. Now I have to look funny. Dang it. Dang it, dang it, dang it. Oh, baby. Not excited for Christmas? Oh, I feel like it's harder to get more excited for Christmas every year. It's gray, not white this year. No, we got all the snow that you got last year. It's been so much here. +2. +2, +1. That's better shit. Those are so ugly. I want to look ridiculous. Okay, cherry sunburst strat. You can't equip that? Oh, it's level 10 plus only. I feel like we cast that. That's so ugly! God. Okay. Like, did you look in the fucking mirror before you left the house? That's terrible. It's terrible. So the magic of Christmas does get lost as you get older. Stinky. Stinky. I feel like it started to fade for me when my niece and nephew got older. Like, they stopped believing in Santa, and then that's when it all came crashing down for me, slower and slower and slower. Good is too an answer. It's been marvelous. It's been delightful. We've had baby kittens. That's been fun. They've had little upset tummies, so we've been dealing with that. But everything else has been good. Nothing worth writing home about. I think we've both been pretty busy, though. Went to wizard school, not fashion school. You know what? You're not wrong. Now I need to go to Don't Die and Heal school. Yeah, I'm gonna die. Unless they fizzle. Not fizzling. Dead. I'm dead. That's how my health is. I'm dead. I'm dead. Dead in game and IRL being dealt with. Wolf thief. Oh, some 12-year-old has risen someone else up in the group chat over there. Zeke Downs. Okay, what does Zeke feel like doing? Because Zeke is big feels today. Zeke is going to nibble on Voya's food crumbs. What are you thinking? Thinking that sounds like a good time. Okay, I'm thinking I'm going to turn off the desk light because that's bright in my eyes. Oh, that's why it wouldn't move. It's rolling over the blankie. Derp. Derp. Work schedule is crazy and busy for a couple months. Oof. Is that like a seasonal thing? Or did you guys just have like way more production or something? More work, same money. Lame. Lame. I hope things are calming down for you. You deserve everything to be chill and, bless you, relaxing. You are sneezing quite a bit, Zeke Zekerton. He's probably sneezed like at least 5 times on stream. Maybe I do need to snuggle with you tonight instead of the babies, but I haven't spent a night away from the babies in like, since we'd separated Mom. I don't know if I can emotionally do that. I feel like if I sleep in here, I'm not gonna sleep. I can pull up the baby's cam on the TV though, but then I can't fall asleep to TV. But it probably would be more constructive to fall asleep to BBs. Boss went stupid. Get him out of there. Fire him. Tell him he's fired. Just kidding, that probably wouldn't go well. Not sure I could be a streamer. Staring at lights sounds headache-inducing. Kind of, but like you get used to it. Kind of like when I first started wearing wigs for cosplay, like they really made me kind of claustrophobic and couldn't wear them for more than a couple hours, and you just get more and more used to it. I don't know. Now my brain doesn't wake up at my computer. Like if I'm doing my taxes or going through Dropbox or whatever else that I do on my computer, I need my stream lights on. Otherwise my brain doesn't want to function. It's not just about like having light to see, which I find very interesting. But you just get used to it. Back when, oh god, I've been on the internet for too long. There's a broken one of them down here. Which one is that one? Back when really all there was for ring lights, like for the accessible public, not like the big ones, because those would be more expensive, like more photography, when they were all like this size, and I changed to the big ones. That was a big adjustment for probably like a year, and I had headaches after streams for a while, and it just at some point stopped. So I guess you just get used to it. Because it does kind of surprise me that this doesn't bother me more. It is a bit headache inducing, or at least used to be. Not so very much anymore. Now I just turn the lights on and attempt to turn my brain on with them. Bless you again, my goodness, my boy. My goodness. I'm gonna give your mother a heart attack. There we go again. Bubbaloo. Don't hit the panic button, Serena. You gave him an antibiotic, and that will cover both grounds. It will. It will. I like how your first concern, Cytogenix, is the streamlights and not the trollage. Not doing good on health. Not. Victory! Ziki, what are you doing? Will we survive the next floor? Well, if the next floor is even the one we need to get to. Welcome, Smoops. Happy Tuesday. Remainder of Tuesday. Start of Wednesday. Start of Serena Day. Welcome. Living in the world, I'm used to a certain amount of trollage. Because you're socially functional, I'm not. Therefore, I do not encounter the worldly trolls. I do think that's true. It is a little bit worse when it comes to female streamers, firstly. And secondarily, I'm sure I'm going to catch some kind of feminism flack for this, but women just do not have as thick of skin as men. Men, I think, are so... That's something I really admire about other male streamers, is they're so fluid to bounce off something that would, like, genuinely make me, like, emotionally jerk back. And they just pull it off as a joke and are fine with it and, like, riff off of it. And it's like, damn, I wish I could be that not sensitive. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. Think men are better at objectively taking a joking critique in stride, where women take it more personally. But that's true even off the internet. You can see that anywhere. You can go to the mall just as easily as you can log on to Kick. Oh, I died.
Oh, looks like you were defeated. You've been brought back.
Can regroup in safety. Oh. Oh. Just beat episode 4 of Star Wars. Nice! Proud of you. Round of applause. Round of applause. Round of applause. Women, we ruin everything. Ruin everything. Kind of depends on the person. I, for one, have a fragile ego. You know what? That's okay, too. It's even better to know that about yourself, instead of pretending otherwise. I have a very fragile ego, and I feel like it's the sooner I learned that in my adult life, the better off I have been, because I did not always know that I had a fragile ego. It's possibly only child things, I don't know. Don't care about internet, all we care about is family. Yes, and cats. That's all that really matters. The internet can take care of itself. Family, cats, they need ya. Zoom, zoom. Zoom, zoom. And posted a picture of them putting the medals on your Lego neck and disco. What? This is cool. Do they do that in all of the Lego games? I gotta see this. Actually, my computer is probably gonna throw a shit fit if I try to open Discord right now. We shall mobilize, Club Cult. Mobilize. Oh, that's so hype! That's so exciting. Fancy. Fancy schmancy. I like how crunchy it is. That's very satisfying. Lego Star Wars games are charming. If they're ever on Plus, if anyone sees them there, shout it out. I would be interested in checking them out. I'm still very intrigued by the Batman one that we've been playing. I don't know if I like it or not, but I'm enjoying being challenged by it. I'm not good at it, but I don't hate it. And we've reached about the point in the game where if I truly did not like it, I wouldn't want to play it anymore. Because I'm a picky bitch. And I need more mana and more health. What's the drama? I want to figure out how to turn the expletives on. Playing on a PS2 emulator, so it's beautifully pixelated. It's gorgeous. I like it. It's crunchy. It makes me happy inside. Nikki is still using you. That's her job. Your job is your job, and that's her job. Oh my goodness. She only wants to eat from me to no touch. It's just that time of year. She has to put on her couple of winter pounds, and you don't need to get in the way of that. Let's base that part on the Star Wars movie. Ooh. How did you enjoy the game as a whole? Was it a positive experience? Oh, Zeke is doing things that I need to observe. One moment, please. One moment, please. Never mind. We're doing the other version of what I don't need to observe. We're all good there. We're all good there. Good evening, the Mad Topher. How are you doing tonight? How's the spellcasting going? I keep dying. Oops, I don't know you. Stranger danger. Exit. I didn't mean to click on you. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. To get the faster cast rate upgrade. I did upgrade my stuff, which is why I look ugly as sin right now. Get out of everyone's everything over here. I hate how my character looks right now. Should you just add the attributes to your outfit instead of having to change it? I got blue shoes. I got a pink and orange robe. I got a green hood. What the fuck? I upgraded a few things, but not enough to not keep dying. I think I missed a couple of side quests in between, and I'm working towards things that I'm not quite leveled up enough to do, which is okay. Just means you're gonna die a million times, which I'm fine doing. Oh my god, they are very grandma house slippers. Like while she's walking, the way they're like flopping. And big nostalgia glasses for it because it was one of your favorite DS games to play. Oh, I bet that's such good memories. I haven't fully finished it. Just finished the first movie of the original trilogy. Still have 5 more movies to play through. That sounds like an excellent way to spend winter break. Because that timeline is coming up soon. I think like next week it would be starting. Back in the day. Back in the day. You gotta ask for slippers from Santa, Smoops. Say Santa Paws, bring me slippers. Alright, slow and steady wins the race? Question mark. Highly recommend a pair of cozy slippers. And like a big cozy bathrobe too. Max chill. It's flip-flop weather. What do you mean? Well, we're not all in sunny Cyogenics paradise. Sorry. Ah. Doesn't always work out that way. Boo-hoo. Oh, my eye is twitching. I am tired. I can feel it. I don't think we can see it, but I can feel it. I want to find some slippers you can wear outside. I don't know if my Bob's ones are indoor-outdoor, but they certainly function for indoor-outdoor. I think they're Bob's by Skechers. they donate a certain portion of whatever you buy to something. Yeah, Boz by Skechers. They're decent indoor, outdoor slippers. Oh, I didn't realize I had that up, but I have that up. I don't know how manly these are, but I know the doggy print ones that I have, they donated a portion to an animal rescue. Those are kind of cute. Low-key, high-key. Oh, those are Eddie Bauer. Those are nice, though. I don't know if Eddie Bauer is still good quality, though. I have a, whatchamacallit, my plaid gray jacket from them. And one of the snaps just fell off the other day. And I haven't even had it 6 months. But that's also, like, work merch. So maybe they didn't put too much quality into it, like whatever the... Not my work merch, but whatever the mine company felt like paying for it, that's what they got out of it. It looks like it has the right kind of bottom. I think so. It looks rubbery. I know you didn't ask my opinion or advice, but I would recommend those. I've had mine for years and I like them. They don't get soggy too fast. They're good stuff. As someone who frequently has to run out with dogs in rain or shine, like the mailman, they work good. Club Cult is very concerned with manliness. Be manly men. Manly, manly men. The moccasin style is very cute. Had LL Bean moccasins for a long time. I like those, but I'm terrible about bending the backs. I used to have a pair of them, and I would always put my back of my heel down over the back of it. And it's like, well, if I'm gonna do that, I might as well have slip-ons. I banned myself from full-on moccasins. Banned! Ban hammer! Ban hammer! Makes me upset that shoes only last so long. Like, if you're very careful with, like, shirts or pants, they can be immortal. But shoes, unless you never wear them, they can never be immortal. And even if you don't wear them, they might end up breaking down in the closet. Leather dries out. Ow, I fizzled. Oh no. Heal. Survive these attacks and heal. It's too convenient to just slip them on. It's way too convenient. Unfortunately, unfortunately for the shoe, fortunately for us. You have slippers that you could wear outside. We like having indoor versus outdoor wear. I do too. My indoor-outdoor slippers only get worn outdoors now. Though not in this weather. Not in this snow. Then I have slides for in through the house. Different things to do outside. Right now there's like a different pair of shoes for every room. Oh, he's gonna attack big. Oh, but I resisted. Haha! I think that's from my hood. Play the 2.5 Men theme song. Manly men, 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 manly men, 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 men. Ah, fuck, I don't know. Despite all of the flack that Charlie Sheen has gotten and gets, and for some ways for good reason, that show was pretty darn good. I haven't seen any of the new bits with Ashton Kutcher. I think that's who is the new Charlie. I don't even know if they call him Charlie. It was well done. It was amusing. I think I read an article though that the kid who played Jake regrets being a part of it in some ways. I think he found religion, though, and I think that has a lot to do with it. Not saying that it's not difficult to be like a child actor, especially on a show that's like raunchy like that. That's probably an interesting way to grow up, especially in show business at all, but I think the finding God part kind of trumps all of it. We either live or die through this tower, and then we go to bed. I won't stop twitching. What child actor is the best adapted? Oh, that's a good question. The first one that comes to mind is the girl who played Lily on Hannah Montana that plays, what the fuck is her name? Georgie's wife in Young Sheldon, and I think there's a spin-off now, like Georgie and Mandy's First Wedding. Probably her. She seems pretty well adjusted. Seems is the key word. Hilary Duff. She seems pretty well adjusted. Other than that, no one really comes to mind. The Harry Potter kids, I guess. I don't know. That's a good question. I feel like Hilary Duff is like the main one that came out of that timeline truly still alive, though. Just sad. Wearing layers. Your sand has no powers here. What about pocket sand? Fuck sandball. Pocket sand. I don't know. Who do you guys think is the most well adapted? I guess I'm just thinking of female characters, but that's only who comes to mind. That might be best. It might not be best. I don't know. I don't know. Excuse me. My eyes. Sorry. You have to always expect the unexpected. Sometimes the unexpected is pocket sand. Oh, maybe we're surviving. Maybe. Maybe. I'm gonna go with that. Because it depends on what age they start acting. That probably has a lot to do with it too. Because then either your parents or agent are in charge of your creative control if you start young. And you probably have more of a say in it. I'd like to think. The older you are getting into it. Not just a say in your roles, but like how you're treated. Like if a kid learns from a young age that they shouldn't speak up when they're upset, they're going to not ever speak up when they're upset. They'll have trauma. But say, I don't know, kid starts acting when they're 12 years old. They're going to speak up when they're upset because that's what 12-year-olds do. I feel like that was a big spell to cast as like a placeholder. That was probably silly. Oops. Thanks for that, Batsy. Starting at an older age, you would probably have more autonomy for yourself and advocating for the way that you're treated. Versus younger, you're at the mercy. And your mind is still forming and forming connections and figuring out the best way to socially function and... Oh my god, we're just not accomplishing anything here, are we? The John Candy documentary coming out. Macaulay Culkin talks about how John Candy was like the only one looking out for him. Aww. He was so young. I don't know what else he was in though. He was prominent when he was a kid, but he was very young in Home Alone. I don't know how young, but definitely still single digit age. It'll be interesting to watch. What is it coming out on, if you know? Oh, we leveled up! Fuck yeah. Been waiting for that. I leveled up. How tall is this tower? Gotta get to the Iron Golem. Pretty young, and his dad was a piece of work too. It's sad. You'd like to think that the people who create you are gonna have your best interest in heart, right? Like to think so. It's not always the case. On Netflix, decent. Bless you, baby. It'll be interesting to see. There's not too much of like Hollywood lore that I find overly interesting other than historical bits, kind of like I don't know, mostly musically related. Johnny Cash or Bobby Darin, anything of the sort. Elvis. But I do kind of, I don't know, I was never overly invested in media or actors and actresses when I was younger. But I guess I'm morbidly curious about what's happened in my lifetime. In some way, shape, or form. I don't know how else you could be curious about any of that without it being a morbid curiosity. I watched the Amanda Bynes thing from, or I guess more Nickelodeon broadly thing. That was hard to watch. That was a rough one. Baby boy. It'd be interesting to see the Home Alone perspective. I got an email about that. I think Netflix has acquired Warner Brothers. Netflix and Paramount are fighting about buying Warner Brothers right now. Probably fighting about how they're going to split it in any way. And what's that going to do to HBO? Like, such a weird world. I was shocked to get that notice, though. I left that up on my phone. I think it's gone now. I might have gotten rid of it. Oh no, there it is. At the very, very end of my emails. Netflix has Warner Brothers. I was gonna bring it up on stream and then I got sick. It's gonna be very different. And are they still gonna have the HBO sound in front of all the shows? There's a lot going on in the world here. A lot changing in the world here. Not okay with it. It's not okay. It's gonna be very different. We'll see how it all ends up, though. And then in 6 months, it'll probably get sold out or changed to someone else. Might keep it, but add their Netflix stuff in front of it. That's what they've done with other IP they got. I think so. I think there was a while that... I think when I watched through Sex and the City, it was on Netflix. I think. And I remember there being something in front of it that was before the little starting bit. The final boss. The Iron Golem. I'm probably gonna die. Let's start off with a good healthy healing. That's a good way to start. Well, that was a big owie. That was a sprite. Shouldn't I resist it because I am the darkness? No. Boo. $720 is a lot of health, all from swapping gear around. No, we leveled up last battle. We finally got enough XP to level up. So now I get more healthies! And can maybe survive for a little bit of time. Maybe, being the operative. Slow and steady wins the race here. Perhaps. I think I was level 8. I think I'm level 9 now. So cool. So cool. So cool. Need more pips. Pippy, I need more pips. Ow. My neck hurts from sleeping on the floor. I can turn this way fine, but turning this way is like, we're grinding gears. That's okay. The babies are worth it. I would sleep on the floor the rest of my life to have all of these moments with them. If that's the trade-off I had to make for the now, I would. Swapping your gear only improves like your spell efficiency and defensibility efficiency. I don't think I said that right. Words. It doesn't really do much to like your in general this stuff over here. Oh, we have a fizzle. Okay. Don't waste the opportunity. Shit. It's not a good opportunity. My things haven't attacked anyone. Fuck. Fuck. You know what? Take it, bitch. Take it. Take it. Could never figure out how to really play this game. That's how I was with it until I brought it up on stream a couple years ago. And then I buckled down and really tried to figure it out. And I'm still learning. But it was a bit of a curve. There is a Reddit forum for it, though. And I think they have a Discord for it, or at least there was for a while. I might have left it. But the Reddit forum is very helpful, too. I guess you have to want to take it seriously to take it seriously. And it's totally a game that they designed so amazingly that you actually can just wander through it and not know what you're doing. And you can pretty much survive every part of the free part by just wandering around and not knowing anything. They really did such a good job at making it accessible for every kind of entry-level player if you want to learn more, if you just want to fuck around in-game. It seems like a back builder type game. It's just a cute little sweet game. Many things about this game that I love. But in general, would highly recommend because victory! Badge earned. Golem Tower champion. Go complete. Collect steam capacitor. Talk to Regina Flametal. Okay. And talk to her and then we're gonna grab some Z's. I am a tired girly. I gotta figure out whose bed am I sleeping in tonight. Kind of. Oh wait, she was in there. Shit. Oops. Oops. Healthies.
You defeated the Iron Golem? Wow.
But mixing up B's and D's is
Experience
perfect in
of
a
trying
dyslexic
with
chat.
it? You are amazing, young wizard.
Apparently thinking about the music troubadour back. Because of the blue house slippers? Yes. Exactly. That is the precise reasoning why.
And true to my word, here are the treasure cards.
Some
I
treasure
promised. Remember to
cards.
put them in your deck. I know you'll need them in the future.
Okay.
Bye now.
Yay. I don't quite remember the significance of treasure cards. Da, 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 da. Where's what I'm looking for? Decks. I got a big deck. Oh, we could switch decks too. I'll remember that for next time. I'm not gonna make that commitment right before Eep time. And I'll come back confused when my cards are different. You're thinking about a bad haircut? No! You got a bad haircut? Like recently? Which hair did they cut wrong? Which one? We'll fix it. I'll grab the scissors right now. We have lined up for next. We gotta get her, I think. I think we can. Cogs, that's such an annoying... Yeah, it doesn't have a guide to it. I don't want to figure that out myself. It's an annoying quest. Oh, it's... Well, I did not make that connection. I did not make that connection. I have no brain cells left for the night. Too much enthusiasm. My dad did quite enjoy when I was finishing grooming school, but still was like at home for portions of life. Get to line up his neck for him perfectly. Trim a little ear hair. It's helpful. Oh, game. You were good to us tonight. Thank you. Good night. Good night. Who doesn't like being pampered? Yeah. Well, I mean, to my knowledge, it's difficult to line up. It's hard to see behind your head. So I don't blame him for wanting help with that. I don't know. I offered after I moved out later on. He was like, no, it's fine. Like, okay, stubborn ass. That's how you want life to be? Okay. It's your prerogative, sir. Those wish haircuts could work like the video games where you just go in and they make your hair grow out instantly. Oh my god, yes. Simulation swap. In Borderlands, just come out with a whole new outfit and style. Oh. Oh. Sorry, you can't be Cousin Fred the Mad Topher. Can't do it. Be like Lego people and just swap the hair pieces. I mean, we have wigs, we could. Just not all wigs are easy or perfect to wear. And wigs are hard to style. Wish they're easier to style. I would love to be lazy and just wear a wig every day. But it's quite obvious that they're wigs quite often. And that's okay. Just not when you're trying to look normal. Charlie Brown piano music playing. Aww. 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 Bloop, bloop. Wear a wig every day? Would I shave my head? No. I would never do that. Never. Never. I am too cocky about my hair. Even if my hair looks like shit, I'm still cocky about it. No, I would just do it to not have to style my hair every day. Like, I'm fine with it looking like monstrous and wild on my own time. It's just on my screen time or lifetime, it needs to be relatively okay-ish, presentable, slightly enough. Slightly enough. So no, I would never shave my head. I would just do it for like styling, protective purposes. I meant to be more mindful with that through October when we did so many Harleys. I was gonna do my head in conditioners and masks and all the things and make it more the extra healthy, and that did not extra end up happening, and that's okay. We'll revisit that again at some point. Oh, Vanity, thy name is Serena. Yeah. Well, I got a really bad haircut my freshman year of high school, and since then I am... Hold on to my hair with my dear life. And I'm sour from it not being super healthy from being on Remicade for like a year and a half or whatever it was, and cocky about my hair's existence. It's getting there though. It's coming back. It's happier. It would be happier if I put more masks and conditioners in it, but that's okay. Yeah, better to have healthy baby kittens than to give a fuck about my hair. My hair really does not matter in the grand scheme of things. Other things were more important, and that's okay. I just like planned out these timelines to like do month of Harley. I'll make my life easy that way, and then da 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 da, chain event succession, that everything will go according to plan, and then it didn't, and that's okay. It will continue to be happy the longer I wait to bleach it too. That's why I'm holding off. Like right now it would not be, even if I wanted to be blonde tomorrow, it would not be a good idea to color it. It's just not as TLC'd as it needs to be to receive that much damage. Needs more padding to be able to take on the damage first, as it's like falling out in my hands. I'm gonna stop doing that. I'm gonna stop doing that. Hi, Zeke. Are you feeling a bit more peppy in your steppy? Okay. Give it a break for a little while longer. However it needs to be until it's ready to get damaged healthily. Whenever that is, I don't know. I'm just getting a break until then. And now it is bedtime, which is the time of the eeps. And tomorrow's Serena Day, so I will miss you, babies. But then, knock on wood, we'll be back on Thursday. I look forward to spending the day with you all. Hello, Zeke Zekerton. Are you done being fussy? You want to come over? I'm very silly. He's just the shadow cat. You can barely see his motion in front of the board. That's funny. Hope you and your hair get good eeps. Hear that, hair? You gotta get some good eeps tonight. Cross fingers and paws for that. Just gotta get everyone fed and gotta figure out dinner and figure out where I'm sleeping tonight. Do you need me tonight? Do the babies need me tonight? I don't know. Making a big deal out of nothing, like a 4-hour period.
Doc Heavy
of time
77 just followed.
That dramatic. Hey, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the cult. It is whatever you want it to be, baby. It's a choose your own adventure. Whoa, I'm topsy-turvy right now. And thank you for taking the time to be here tonight. I want my fever to go away. I get so dizzy with fevers and it's annoying. I got up and I went down. He's going in for the pin now. He kind of is. And that's okay. We're just gonna rock with it. Zeke can do whatever he wants right now. I and the world be damned. Zeke does what he wants. Thank you all for a wonderful nightclub cult. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your chats. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being your wonderful selves. And thank you for your time more than anything. We're all wonderful human beings, and your time is very valuable. Do not ever forget that. Whether it is for 2 seconds, being his own version of topsy-turvy right now. Whether that's for 2 seconds, 2 minutes, 2 hours, if I don't see you again for 2 years, when our times collide, it is beautiful, magical, amazing, and incredible. I'm very grateful, girly. Aw, thank you, man, Topher. It will be a productive Serena day. I have no appointments tomorrow, thankfully, because my car has a flat tire. So I might try to get my car in tomorrow if I can. Otherwise, I'll drive it in the next day. I have a feeling probably not tomorrow, because usually to bring it in the same day, I have to call first thing in the morning, and that's... Bless you, Gunther. That's not going to happen tomorrow at all. I can guarantee it. 100%. It's not going to happen. Tomorrow I gotta clean up the house, like extra good, do a really big scrub down, and scrub down in the baby's room, because now I know that's okay to do, not ruining anything sanitation wise or containment wise. But the babies might have a visit this Saturday, Stripes and Nibbler, so I want the house to be extra clean for that. Where are you going, Bubbles? Everywhere. Everywhere. So I might have to go out and take my car in tomorrow, but probably more than likely Thursday. And then I don't have to go anywhere tomorrow. Yay. Yay. It's the first Wednesday in so long, I think I have nowhere to go, which is, God, thank you. Thank you. Just gotta clean. Lots of cleans. Said you gotta get up to get down, you gotta get up to get down. Hey, you hear that, Siki? Is that what you're preaching to the choir here? Thank you all for your time tonight. I appreciate you all very much. You're wonderful. You're wonderful. Later gators and after while crocodiles. Zeke, you gotta study yourself so I can type here. I cannot control everything in this world. If you guys want to keep up with me offline, hop into the Disky Boo. Otherwise, we got the fun stuff. Socials. Some more fun stuff. The schedule for when I will see you Bebs next. I still need to update a bunch of days starting next week. This week I only have a dentist appointment, which is nice. On Thursday. But it's early afternoon. So it'll be fine. But then next week more appointments start coming up, and that's... I need to alter the schedule. And the babies get spayed next week. So I need to look at all of that. That will go on the priority list for Serena Day as well as alter the schedule. Thank you all for being a part of the stream, the Dreams Project. If I can spell it, that would be nice. It means the world to me, and I appreciate everybody's support. Oh, I messed up my emote timeline here. That requires actual thoughts now. Good lord. And thank you all for being a part of the holidays. Wow, the dyslexia is strong tonight. Typed May's earlier instead of Amy's. I don't even want to explain what holidays just looked like. Oh, that was supposed to be a Charlie stare. But tired brain put Tank. Tank is just big pop-off Santa Claus. That's where it comes through true. Mr. Voya, do you have things to share? The boss man is coming in and telling me to clock out. Do me one favor until I see you Bibs next, and that is, remember that you are wonderful, amazing, incredible, spectacular, fantastic, phenomenal, oh so gorgeous, and all the good things in the world. Take all those compliments and put them in your respective back pockets, side pockets, hoodie pockets, shirt pockets, floating in suspended animation. Zeke is taking over my life. Hold on to those dearly until I see you next, you sweet baboos. You sweet baboos. That voice crack, though. Okay, Voya. Okay. Okay. Strong feelings. Get some good sleeps tonight. Make good choices. Don't do anything I or the boys wouldn't do. And I will see you Bibs soon. Get some good sleeps. Get some good eats. And shall see you all for the next one. Good nighty night.